They're singing, go, Cubs, go! Go, Cubs, go! Hey, Chicago, what do you say? The Cubs are gone.
Series win, boys and girls. Welcome back.
Time.
Yes.
About
Welcome
time.
back to Clark and Addison, Born into the Ivy. He's Eli Butler, and I'm David Butler, and we are your hosts. Don't forget to like and subscribe and leave us a 5-star review. We're here to talk about the last series for the Cubs against the Phillies. Without further ado, we'll talk about the Phillies. We'll review the series. The Cubs were able to pull off a series win against the Phillies. This was after first losing the game on Monday. The offense in the last 4 games, dating back to the last game on Sunday, has averaged just shy of 9 runs per game. For a unit, I have been very critical of them, and this is huge. Sorry, my thing just went up. Nico Hoerner is playing like one of the top 10 players in baseball right now. Is he not?
Top 5.
I'll
cut that list short.
I'm not against top 5. The way he's playing right now is insane. After Javier Assad's blow-up game on Monday, the starters and the opener, we'll put in Riley Martin because he was the opener, pitched fantastic in the last 2 days. They each gave up a home run. Colin Ray, unfortunately, was a 3-run shot, but after that, he was lights out. And Shota gave up was it the first pitch, I think, home run to Trey Turner? And
it was in the first inning. That's what I know, yeah.
It was the very first batter I know. It was the first or second pitch. And he was absolutely freaking phenomenal after that. 11 Ks.
He really wanted the 12.
High.
He wanted a new. Yep. He wanted number 12 so bad. You could tell.
He has 20 Ks in the last 2 starts. Shota Imanaga, at least for now, is back.
Guys, I know what I said before about Shota signing with the Cubs. I knew, I wasn't a huge fan of it. But, either way I was fine. But I'm really glad we got him back. Especially in crucial times like this. I take everything back that I said.
Do we think that Shota's going to do this for the rest of the year? I don't.
No.
And I would say it's unfair to expect him to pitch the way he has.
And if he does, he's going to be Cy Young winner.
Oh, absolutely. I think that I still maintain I think he's kind of in between what 24 was and what 25 was. And I would actually even say I think he is more of an in between what 24 was and the first half of 25. Because the first half of 25, he was still pretty good. He just wasn't as good as 24. You know what I mean?
Right.
But the dude's got a lot of pride. And you know that this has got to feel so good for him. Do you think, and it's probably too early for this, but do you think Jed Hoyer regrets not picking up the 3-year option?
Yeah, probably. Maybe. I mean, you could still always go back to that option,
I mean, I think Shota would love if the Cubs were to say, "Hey, we'd like to keep you around for another 2 years or something." After you know what I mean? I think that he would always listen to the Cubs. The dude seems to love it in Chicago. He loves pitching for the fans of Chicago and the Cubs. I love Shota Imanaga. Was I frustrated with him last year? Yes. I expected him to bounce back in a good way for this season. I didn't expect this. Like, he has been absolutely dominant. He's given up 2 home runs, and that's it. Like,
he's number 1 in swing and misses right now, I'm pretty sure.
He had 26 swing and misses in the game last night, most of any pitcher for the season, for any team. That's awesome. Fantastic. And his teammate has had 2 swing and miss games himself. But it was like 20. That was Boyd had a rehab start today with Iowa. Got roughed up a little bit in the second. outside of that was pretty good. So, he is expected to pitch against the Phillies at some point next week. Whether that be Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, I don't know. But Counsel, I think he was asked about it, and he said, "I'm not worried about that right now. I'm not worried about helping MLB.com." We're putting out their information. I thought that was kind of funny, annoying too, to an extent, but funny. So, um, what else you got? You got anything with the series? I want to share this. I'm
No,
going to
I'm
share these
just
stats
really happy.
that for this is
Okay.
with the series. So these are the stats from just the offensive stats from the Philly series. This doesn't include Sunday's game, but I thought these stats were awesome. Everybody in green, I thought, had some sort of really good series in some way. Hap was below 300, but he had a couple doubles, contributed. Michael Bush was the one guy that's still obviously struggling. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Tuesday, he had a couple of hits, but they weren't like solid, great hits. Like Shaw had been struggling, broke out with those 3 doubles yesterday, and those were good, solid hits that he had. Driving the
He
ball
almost
with
got a
authority and
homer
everything.
in like the bottom of
Yeah.
the top of the 6th, I think, or 7th.
Yeah, Hap almost had one, I think, on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Dansby Swanson with the 2 home runs. Nico Horner is playing out of his mind. Out of the leadoff spot, Nico Horner has 8 RBIs in that series. Is that not crazy?
Yeah.
I think that
Especially at the
says
number
2
1
things.
spot. That's insane.
It enforces the clutch hitting that Nico Horner does,
Mm-hmm.
and showcases that. But it also says how much the bottom of the order did in this series. Dansby Swanson, Miguel Amaya, Pete Crow Armstrong, Carson Kelly. Those guys really played well in this series and helped set that table. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Very exciting. I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. I'll stop sharing that now. But Eli, Craig Counsel, what grade would you give him so far this season? Before you answer, I know you just did. I'm sorry, and my fault. He is the second highest paid manager in baseball. Do you think Craig Counsell is a good manager? I do, very much so. Is he an elite manager? Or is he showing that he's an elite manager right now? I don't think so either. Not by any means. Part of the point of Ballesteros of being up in the majors is to learn on the fly. How is he ever going to learn how to hit against lefties in the major leagues if he's never given a chance? I'm not saying he should start against a Jesus Luzardo or Christopher Sanchez or really any. Like, I don't think he should necessarily start against any lefty right now. But if there's a situation, say in the 6th inning, like there was on Tuesday, where nobody's on, there's 2 outs, and Ballesteros comes up and he's hitting against a lefty, why wouldn't you let him get some time against a lefty that way? You know what I mean? Like, even if there was no outs, I can understand pinch hitting for him at that point or something like that. But even if Matt Shaw would have gotten on or Ballesteros had gotten on, the chances with 2 outs of a rally are not nearly as great. So give this kid a chance to hit. There was a couple of games ago that he had pinch hit Sayoff for him. And in a very similar situation, I think 2 outs, nobody on. why not save Seoff for a more of a high leverage situation? You know what I mean? And that high leverage situation came up later on, and instead we used Miguel Amaya. And nothing against Miguel Amaya, he's not Seiya Suzuki. Miguel's hitting very well. Don't misunderstand me. It's just when you, I would rather have Seiya Suzuki up in that spot, wouldn't you?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
And
For
I
sure.
guarantee Craig Counsel would have. So I just think that sometimes he doesn't think it. He thinks about right now and not the whole game, and that's seriously what he's freaking paid to do. So I'm going to ask you again, and I know you already answered, but you would give him what grade?
A D.
Why?
Well, first of all, when it comes to anything medically involved with the team, he doesn't say anything. Which, again, he doesn't have to, but still, like, people want to know,
I think part of
you
that's
know?
some gamesmanship, but I'm with you. I'm not
We're the ones
disagreeing.
who's
I'm
making
just
them money.
yes.
And, righty, lefty, righty, lefty, righty, lefty. That doesn't work. It sounds like a great plan, but it doesn't work. It's a new game now. It's a different kind of baseball now.
It shouldn't be the like we have to do that all the time.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes holding pitchers longer in than he should, or taking him out too soon.
Yeah.
He
I
just
I
bugs
think
me.
I'd probably give him a C, but like maybe closer to a C minus, like right in that range. You know what I mean? I'm
Mm-hmm.
not quite as harsh on it, but I have no problem with a D either. Does that you know what I mean? I'm
Right.
not I'm not I was overall happy with what he did last year. I'm not terribly happy with what he's doing right now for
Mm-hmm.
this year. And I don't think he's doing the Cubs a whole lot of favors, putting them in the right position to be more successful than what they have been. The Cubs they're still in last place at 9-9, and possibly the best division in baseball. Because I think they're the only division, let me double check, that has everybody at 500 or higher. Now, they
Mm-hmm.
don't have anybody running away with it, but the only team that's really running away with anything is the Dodgers. The Braves are 12-7 now. Dodgers 14-4. And the team with the best record in the AL is Tampa at 11-7. You know, Tampa,
That bunting team.
the
Bunting
Brewers.
team.
Speaking of bunting team, did you see what the Brewers did today to win the game for them? Or to
I'm
get
guessing a bunt.
they had 3 bunts in a row. Got them their game go ahead score in the bottom of the 8th to win 2-1 against the Blue Jays.
They're just cheating. I
I
hate
hate
that.
those pesky bastards. But so the Brewers are in second or fourth place at 10 and
Mm-hmm.
8. Pittsburgh is in first, tied with Cincinnati. They're both 11 and 8. They're 1.5 games against the Cubs, who are in fifth place. And yes, there's no other division has every team at 500 or higher. That's kind of cool. You know what I mean? It also
Mm-hmm.
kind of sucks because that means I think it's going to be a dogfight for a little while at least with all 5 teams. The 4 really good to maybe higher than that teams, and then the Cardinals are playing above their heads, and I'm sure they're going to falter. God, I hope so. The Cubs have a 19-point run differential, tied for the highest with Pittsburgh in the Central. There's only 2 teams that have a higher one in the National League: the Dodgers and Braves. Dodgers are plus 46. The Braves are plus 44. Cubs' biggest problem is that they have a lot of runs scored,
Mm-hmm.
but they also they've been shut out twice. You know what I mean? Like the offense hasn't been as consistent as what we want, but it seems to be gaining traction. We'll see how it goes in Wrigley. I think it's going to make a difference It's supposed to be warmer this weekend. It's supposed to cool off some, but it's not going to be as cold as it was. You know what I mean?
Right. Mm-hmm.
So I think that'll help. So the bullpen / pitching staff as a general whole. I had something I wanted to. I can still share. Can't I? It's in my. Okay, there it is. I'm gonna share this. 11 pitchers are on the disabled list right now, or the injured list. I'm sorry. That's crazy. Is it Sharon? Yeah. So Matthew Boyd, who just
Yep.
made a rehab start today, we just talked about that. Hunter Harvey, Porter Hodge, who is out for the year, probably into next year as well, having UCL surgery. That sucks for him. I hope that everything goes
Mm-hmm.
well, just like with Cade. Kevin Hollowell out with a right elbow injury. He's got fluid on his elbow. So hopefully that goes away quickly because that was a guy that we were kind of clamoring, wanting to be brought back up. Jackson Wiggins is now on the IL.
Mm-hmm.
Elbow pain. So that sucks. You know what I mean? Phil Maton, I think,
Yeah.
is a guy that they're leaning towards. It's probably a minimum stay. But
Mhm.
Shelby Miller's out for the year. That we knew that. Ethan Roberts had a freak injury, with a laceration on his finger. Justice Steele, we all know about that. And then Jordan Wicks, the jury's still out about that. You know what I mean? Hunter Harvey, it hasn't been great news. I think he's probably going to be out for quite a while. So right now, the Cubs pitching staff, in the bullpen, we have Ben Brown, Luke Little, Riley Martin, who I've been very impressed with, Hobie Milner, Daniel Palencia, Ryan Rollison, Caleb Theobar, and Jacob Webb, who I am not at all impressed with.
Yeah, me neither.
There's five lefties in the bullpen. 3 right-handers. That is outrageous. There's 3 right-handers: Jacob Webb, Ben Brown, and Daniel Palencia. In a
Yeah, for a
non-save
guy who really likes
situation,
righty situations, he's doesn't have the lineup for it in the bullpen.
I was about to say, in a non-save situation, who do you want as to face a righty, a tough righty? It's got to be Ben Brown, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
I think Caleb is pretty good against righties. Hobie Milner also. But it's not the same. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't trust Jacob Webb at all in that situation.
Me neither.
Like, I don't trust him at one iota. And I don't think that he should be trusted. Especially in a one-run game. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I mean, it's got to be Ben Brown. Or you bring in Danny P early, but then what happens when you still got to get in the ninth? You know what I mean?
All right. Ben Brown was pretty good yesterday.
He's had 2 consecutive outings now of pretty good pitching. I did you get to see his outing yesterday?
I saw like a couple batters.
He didn't he had solid stuff, and he trusted it, and I mean they hit it, but there wasn't a whole lot of hard contact in the outing yesterday. He didn't K anybody, I don't believe, in the game, but that he doesn't have to all the time. It is a plus for him. It's actually partly why I would want him to be the one who comes in right now, because I think that he's got that strikeout stuff when he needs to. You know what I mean? So if you need a
Yeah.
guy to come in for one big out in the bottom of the 8th or bottom of the 7th, I think he's a really good guy for that. Hopefully we're done having him pitch in bulk much. knowing the situation. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Right.
But I really like Riley Martin. He's been very impressive so far. Milner and Thielbar are obviously the big guys on the left side. I think Thielbar is probably the main setup man right now.
Yeah, probably. Even though he's having a few hiccups, I think so.
Or he and Brown can kind of share that. So, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I think Hobie probably stays the seventh inning guy. Um, but Hobie Milner has really been impressive. He hasn't pitched much lately, but he was there for he was 7 of the first 12 games, I think, which is
Mm-hmm.
insane. And he didn't seem to bat an eye about it. So that's good. That we're gonna need that. How do we feel about the ABS so far? What do you think? Just before I give you a bunch of numbers here.
I mean, I don't mind it,
You don't
but at
like
the
it though?
same time, yeah, it's still I'd rather not have it. But I I feel both ways. I'm 50-50 about it. I don't really care
Okay.
because you get two challenges.
I like it a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, I was a guy who really was clamoring for it last year, obviously. You remember that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really glad it's here. I think that it's evolving and it's going smoother. I think players are starting to get a better idea of what to challenge or when to challenge type thing. You know what I mean? Um, now, do they
Yeah,
make
Say
mistakes
actually
with it?
used it
Absolutely.
yesterday.
But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I would like to see the Cubs use it a little more. They're pretty middle of the road when I was looking at the team stats for this on both sides, whether it be the batters or the fielders, so the catcher slash pitcher. Um, they're pretty middle of the road in the middle. Um, so in total, there's been 50 or of all challenges, 54% of them have been overturned. I thought that was interesting. Um, just a little bit more than right down the middle. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
According to Baseball Savant, batters have a 47% success rate and fielders have a 60% success rate. I'm not overly surprised by that. I think catchers have a really good viewpoint,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's the vast majority of the fielders side. Um,
Right.
and so it makes sense that they would have a higher success rate, and really it's not close. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I I might be a little bit surprised that it's not a little bit closer in the gap. 13% is a pretty sizable gap to me. But I just think that they have such a better vantage point than the batters do. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Easily.
The leading team for batters in total number to have correct challenges is the Twins at 15. Uh, the leading percent for batters is the Reds with the 69% success rate. I thought that was pretty high, really,
Yeah.
and pretty impressive. Um, the most challenges are the Twins at 31. The Cleveland Guardians have a rookie who just lost his no hitter in the ninth inning. Parker Messick. The Cubs pitched or hit against him, or played against him, and I think beat him. But he's been pretty good, impressive. Would have been cool to see a no hitter right away in April. But the leading fielding team for correct number is the Marlins with 21, and the leading percent for fielders is the Tigers at an insane 86% correct rate. Isn't that crazy? Most challenges are the Marlins with 35. So, our preview for the New York Mets series that starts tomorrow. All three games, I believe, are at 1:20 Chicago time, 2:20 Eastern time, which is where Eli and I live. On Friday, Kodai Senga versus Edward Cabrera. Saturday, Senga has not pitched well this season so far. On Saturday is the dreaded Freddie Peralta. I hate that guy. Versus Jamison Tyone. Of all matchups, he's
Yeah.
going against Jamison. Damn it. And then on Sunday, actually, is Sunday's game? No, it is 2:20. Okay. On Sunday is left-handed pitcher David Peterson versus Javier Assad. Hopefully Javier bounces back. He obviously had a very rough outing on Monday against Phillies. But hopefully the offense gets a little more.
Oh, Schwarber was just on a different planet that day.
He
was hitting out of strike zone and was going over the fence. He was on one knee.
I love that guy, except when we
and it
play
went
him.
over the fence. One knee.
I saw a video today that Perry, my best friend, sent me, and it was Chicago sports radio, and the question was asked, what Chicago athlete, former athlete, do you miss the most? And the answer by both the guys was Kyle Schwarber. 100%.
Really?
100%. He's like the guy that got away.
Mhm.
And they didn't even get anything for him. They didn't trade him. They just non-tendered him. Jed Hoyer has said that that's like his biggest regret. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, sucks. But I'll get back to what I was doing. Sorry. Mets and Cubs are both in the sellers in their respective divisions, but the Cubs are 9-9 and the Mets are 7-12. They have really struggled. Hopefully, this is not a get-right series for them, and it is for the Cubs. We need to come out of this series at worst 11-10. Agreed?
Agreed.
Cubs are averaging 5.22 runs per game, which is 7th overall, but only 4.44, which is 16th overall at home. In contrast, the Mets are averaging 3.42 runs per game, good for 27th overall, but 3.4, 22nd while on the road. Both teams are pretty close in ERA. The Cubs have a 3.88, which is 13th best. However, it's 3.47 at Wrigley, which is the 11th best. The Mets have an ERA as a team at 3.83, but a sparkling 3.12 while on the road. I expect this to be a little more lower scoring. I don't think that there's going to be I would be surprised if there's a whole lot of scoring more than 6 runs or something. I would say that 5-6 runs should be good enough to win it in this series, like per game. But if the wind ends up blowing out and stuff, that can change quickly. You know what I mean?
Right.
But both teams pitch. I expect the pitching to be a little better. I think matchup wise, the only one I'm truly concerned about is Freddie Peralta versus Jamison Tyone. And that's more about Freddie Peralta than anything. The dude is just amazing. However, the Cubs have gotten to him the last few times we faced him. So hopefully that continues. You know what I mean? You got anything else, buddy?
Go Cubs go!
Nope.
Do it again, Pacey.
Go Cubs go!
All right. For Eli, I'm David, and we thank you for watching and or listening to Clark and Addison Born into the Ivy. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and leave us a 5-star review on YouTube or any of our other platforms. Everybody have a great day, and let's go Cubs.
Cubbies.